Something strange has been happening lately, hasn't it? The world around you feels different, familiar, yet not quite the same. It's subtle, almost too subtle to explain to anyone else. The timing of events has shifted. People you haven't thought about in years suddenly reappear. You keep seeing the same numbers, hearing the same phrases, finding yourself in places you swore you'd never be again. At first, you thought it was just coincidence. But deep down, you know better. Something is moving, something unseen is rearranging itself. And here's the part no one tells you. These moments, the strange timing, the unexplainable signs, the quiet pull towards something you can't quite name, they're not random. They're invitations, signals that your quantum jump is closer than you think. Most people miss them. They dismiss the signs, push away the strange feelings, and double down on normal. But you wouldn't be here, listening to this, if you hadn't already sensed that normal is no longer an option. The truth is, before a quantum leap happens in your life, your reality starts sending you whispers, tiny ripples in the fabric of your everyday existence. And the reason they feel so unsettling is because they are the first cracks in the version of reality you've been living in. You might be wondering, what exactly is a quantum jump? It's not just a big change. It's not about slowly improving over time. A quantum jump is when you shift instantly into a completely different version of reality. One where the circumstances, opportunities, and even the way you experience yourself is transformed. Science will tell you it's impossible. That reality is fixed, time is linear, and you can only move step by step. But the universe doesn't work the way we were taught. And if you've been feeling like the rules are starting to bend around you, it's because they are. You see, every possible version of you already exists. Every life you could live, every reality you could step into, it's all here, layered in infinite possibility. And sometimes, without warning, you find yourself right on the edge of stepping into one of those other lives. That's the moment we're talking about. That's the space you might be in right now. Before a quantum jump, things can get strange. Your old life starts to fall apart, not because you've done something wrong, but because it's making space for the new one. Relationships shift. Jobs disappear. Plans you thought were solid crumble overnight. And in the middle of it, you might feel like you're losing control. But here's the paradox. Losing control is the very thing that makes the jump possible. The signs will keep coming. The coincidences will get louder. You'll start to feel as if you're standing in two worlds at once. One foot in the life you've known, the other in a place you've only dreamed of. And when that tension becomes too much to bear, that's when the jump happens. So, if you've been feeling this, if the fabric of your life feels thinner lately, if the edges are starting to fray, if something inside you is quietly saying, this is not all there is, pay attention, because you're closer than you think, much closer. The question is, will you step through? People talk about change as if it's a slow climb, step by step, day by day, as though life is nothing more than a staircase you have to walk. But a quantum jump is not a staircase, it's a doorway. And when you step through, you are no longer the same person who stood on the other side. This isn't just metaphor, it's how reality itself operates. Imagine your life as a book, not just one book, but an infinite library of books. Each one tells the story of a different version of you. Some are almost identical to the life you're living now. Some are wildly different, filled with places you've never been, people you've never met, and experiences you've never imagined. A quantum jump is when you close the book you've been reading and pick up another one entirely. Same library, different story. And here's the strange part. Once you're inside the new book, it will feel as though you've always been there. You might think this is just science fiction, but the truth is, science has already given us hints. Quantum physics tells us that particles can exist in more than one state at the same time, until something causes them to choose a position. That choice That collapse from possibility into reality is what creates what we call the present moment. If particles can do it, so can you. Because you are made of the same stuff. A quantum jump isn't about changing the outside world first. It's about shifting your position in the field of possibilities so that the world you experience matches the version of you that you've become. And if that sounds strange, remember this: it's not supposed to make sense to your logical mind. The jump bypasses logic entirely. The signs leading up to it are not subtle if you know where to look. Your old identity starts to feel uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that no longer fit. You notice conversations don't land the way they used to. Food tastes different. Your favorite music suddenly doesn't move you the same way. People you've known forever seem like strangers, while strangers feel oddly familiar. It's as if reality is loosening its grip on you. Or maybe you're loosening your grip on it. And right now, if you're feeling like nothing is stable, if your thoughts are full of questions you can't answer, if you're half excited and half terrified about where life is taking you, you're standing in the hallway between worlds. Most people run back to the old room because at least it's familiar. But you're still here. And that means something inside you is ready to see what's on the other side of that doorway. Before a quantum jump, the universe starts speaking to you in a language you didn't even know you understood. It doesn't shout. It whispers, over and over, in patterns that become impossible to ignore. Here are the signs, though you may already be living them. Time feels broken. You keep glancing at the clock at the exact same times, 11:11, 2:22, 3:33. At first, it feels like a quirky coincidence, but then it happens so often you start to wonder if you're the one causing it. Minutes stretch and contract. Some days feel like weeks. Some weeks vanish in what feels like a single breath. This is reality's way of telling you that the linear timeline you're used to is bending, preparing to snap you into another version. The past won't stay in the past. Old friends message you out of nowhere. Objects you thought you'd lost suddenly turn up. Dreams replay moments from years ago with vivid clarity. But something about them feels different. These echoes aren't accidents. They're threads from other timelines tugging at your awareness, asking if you're ready to weave something new. Synchronicities multiply. You think of someone and they call you. You talk about a place and suddenly see it everywhere. You're introduced to a stranger and realize they hold exactly the missing piece you've been searching for, even if you didn't know you were searching. These aren't lucky breaks. They're coordinates, mapping the path toward your new reality. You feel both lost and deeply certain at the same time. It's confusing. One part of you feels unmoored, like you're floating without direction. The other part knows, without proof, without reason, that something extraordinary is coming. This mix of fear and certainty is the energetic tension that propels you through the jump. Physical sensations you can't explain. You might feel sudden bursts of energy for no reason. Goosebumps in moments that aren't emotional. A buzzing in your hands or head when you think about the future. Your body is recalibrating to match the vibration of the reality you're about to enter. Things fall apart fast. Jobs end. Relationships shift. Plans collapse. It feels unfair, almost cruel. But this is the dismantling of the old reality. You can't carry the furniture from your old house into the new one. The architecture is different. The strange pull. You find yourself drawn to new places, ideas, or people without knowing why. Your tastes change overnight. Something inside you is navigating toward the coordinates of your new reality, even if your conscious mind doesn't understand the route. If you're experiencing even a few of these, the space between your current self and your future self is razor thin. You could step through at any moment. Here's the paradox. You don't make a quantum jump by pushing harder, working more, or trying to control the outcome. You make it by aligning with it, by allowing the shift to happen through you, not because of you. And that's exactly what we're about to explore next. You don't chase a quantum jump. You invite it. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you want to hear a specific station, you don't twist the knob faster. You turn it slowly, carefully, until the static fades and the music comes through clear. That's what alignment is. It's finding the frequency of the reality you're about to enter, and holding it long enough for the shift to occur. What thoughts do they allow? And which ones do they release instantly? Start living like that now. Not when it happens. Not once things improve. Now. Follow the strange pull. If you feel drawn to take a different route home, do it. If you feel the urge to read a book you've never heard of, order it. If you feel compelled to message someone for no reason, send it. These tiny actions are often the invisible hinges on which big doors swing open. Keep your nervous system calm. A quantum jump is an energetic upgrade. If you're in constant stress or panic, your body will resist the shift because it interprets unknown as danger. Breathe slowly. Take walks. Touch the earth with your bare hands. Remind your body that it's safe to step into the unknown. Stop asking when. The more you obsess over the timing, the more you anchor yourself in the reality where it hasn't happened yet. Instead, act as though you already are the person who's experienced it, and let time catch up with you. Because here's the secret no one tells you. A quantum jump doesn't come with a warning bell. It's not announced with fireworks or a neon sign. One moment you're here, and in the next, without even realizing exactly when it happened, you're there. The scenery is the same, but you are different, and that difference changes everything. Most people think reality is solid, a fixed stage where life plays out, scene after scene, without changing the set. But that's only because we've been trained to see it that way. At the most fundamental level, the universe is not made of matter. It's made of energy. And energy isn't fixed. It moves, shifts, responds. Like water rippling to the sound of a distant drum. Quantum physics tells us something unsettling and thrilling at the same time. Particles, the building blocks of everything, don't exist in one place until they're observed. Until then, they exist in a cloud of possibilities, each as real as the next, waiting for one to be chosen. What does that mean for you? It means that right now, countless versions of your life are possible. There's a version of you who stayed in that relationship, and one who left. A version who never took that risk, and one who bet everything and won. Every possibility is already there, waiting in the invisible space around you. A quantum jump isn't about creating something new from nothing. It's about moving yourself into the version of reality where the thing you desire is already true. Spiritual traditions have been describing this for thousands of years. They just used different words. Mystics called it shifting timelines. Shamans called it walking between worlds. Yogis called it entering the state beyond form. Science calls it collapsing the wave function. Same truth, different language. Think of your life as a film reel. Right now, the frame in front of you is what you see, what you live. But every frame of the movie already exists. Past, present, future. A quantum jump is like cutting the reel and splicing in a completely different scene, without anyone in the audience realizing the edit happened. The how isn't about force. It's about resonance. Two tuning forks set to the same frequency will vibrate together, even if only one is struck. Your future self is already vibrating at the frequency of the reality you want. When you match that frequency, the universe doesn't have a choice. It has to bring you there. And here's where it gets strange. The jump often happens in moments of stillness, not when you're working harder, but when you're washing dishes, taking a walk, staring out a window. Because in those quiet moments, your grip on what is loosens just enough for what could be to slip in. It started like any other Tuesday. I woke up late, coffee already lukewarm by the time I took my first sip. My phone buzzed with a message I didn't want to read. And for some reason, the silence in my apartment felt heavier than usual, like the air was holding its breath. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, staring at the steam rising from my mug, thinking, I can't do this anymore. Not in a dramatic way, not in a my life is over way, just in that quiet, exhausted way where something deep inside knows the page has turned and you're still reading the wrong chapter. I didn't make any big decisions that morning. I didn't quit my job. I didn't sell my belongings and move to Bali. I just got up, put on my shoes, and went for a walk. Halfway down the street, I felt it. That strange pull I couldn't explain. Instead of turning left toward the park, I turned right. No reason, no plan, just a small, unreasonable yes to something I didn't understand. The road I took was one I'd never noticed before, even though I must have passed it hundreds of times. It curved gently uphill, lined with tall, swaying trees whose leaves seemed too green for late autumn. I could hear the wind moving through them like a whisper, but it wasn't the kind of whisper that speaks in words. It was more like it was remembering me. I walked for maybe 20 minutes before I realized something strange. The air felt different, thicker somehow. Not heavy, but charged, like the moment before a summer storm breaks. And then, and I swear this is the only way I can describe it, I blinked and everything was the same. But it wasn't. The street was still there. The trees were still there. The wind was still moving through the leaves, but the colors seemed sharper. The sound seemed fuller. And somewhere deep inside me, I felt an almost physical click, like a door closing on one world and opening into another. I didn't question it. I didn't analyze it. I just kept walking, breathing in the new air, feeling the weight of something I'd been carrying quietly dissolve without me even knowing I'd been holding it. By the time I got home, I couldn't tell you exactly what had changed, but everything had. Opportunities I'd been chasing for years began finding me. Conversations unfolded that seemed impossibly well-timed, and I woke up every morning with the unshakable sense that I was exactly where I was meant to be, because I was. You may think that story was just a coincidence, but let me tell you something most people never hear. By the time you notice the signs, your jump is already in motion. It doesn't start with lightning bolts or flashing neon signals. It starts quietly. So quietly that most people dismiss it and go back to sleep. Metaphorically and sometimes literally. The first sign is disconnection. You wake up and realize the things that used to excite you now feel hollow. The people you've known for years don't quite fit anymore, like a jacket you've outgrown but keep wearing because it's familiar. This isn't depression. This is your system preparing to detach from one frequency so you can align with another. The second sign is synchronicity. Numbers repeating on clocks. Strangers mentioning the exact book you were thinking about. Opportunities appearing in ways that seem too convenient to be random. Your rational mind calls it coincidence. Your deeper self knows it's calibration, the universe adjusting the dials. The third sign is emotional surges. One day you feel invincible. The next, you feel like everything is falling apart. It's not instability, it's turbulence. Just like a plane shakes hardest right before it breaks through the cloud layer, you're feeling the pushback of the old reality as you accelerate toward the new one. The fourth sign is time distortion. Hours vanish when you're immersed in something. Days drag when you're doing things that no longer match your frequency. Sometimes you even forget what day it is, because you're slipping in and out of alignment with linear time itself. And then comes the most subtle and most powerful sign of all. A sense of knowing you can't explain. No evidence, no proof. Just a quiet certainty in your bones that something is about to shift. If you're feeling any of these, don't panic, don't resist. And above all, don't try to make it happen faster. A quantum jump is not a train you catch. It's a current you allow yourself to be carried by. And here's the truth almost nobody tells you. If this is happening to you right now, your jump is closer than you think. So here you are, listening. Maybe your heart's beating a little faster. Maybe your mind's racing with memories and moments that suddenly make sense. That's not just interest. That's recognition. You wouldn't still be here if some part of you wasn't already in motion. Think about it. You didn't stumble across this message by chance. Out of billions of voices you could be hearing right now somehow, this is the one in your ears. That's not random. That's alignment. Here's the thing. You don't need to force your jump. You don't need to manifest harder or meditate for hours or chase some mystical checklist. All you need is permission, not from me, not from the universe, from you. Right now, you can give yourself that permission. You can decide that the old chapter is closed, not because it was bad, but because it has served its purpose. And the next chapter? It's already written in your frequency. You just haven't turned the page yet. So close your eyes for a moment. Feel your breath moving in and out. With every inhale, imagine pulling in the energy of the reality you've been dreaming of. With every exhale, imagine letting go of anything that no longer fits. Inhale, new frequency in. Exhale, old frequency out. Somewhere, in a timeline not far from here, the version of you who has already made the jump is looking back at this moment with a smile. Because they know this was it. The moment you stopped waiting and started allowing. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You only need to take the first step. And the truth? You already have. Because if this is happening to you, your quantum jump isn't just closer than you think. It's already begun.